Hello, welcome to another Guardians of Wiltshire video. I'm your host Dewi, and this is another Send Forth All Legions. This week, the Wolves of Isengard. Following the burning of the Westfold at the hands of the Uruk-hai and Dunlendings, Theoden makes the decision to move his people to the sanctuary of Helm's Deep. Upon hearing of the king's plan from his lackey Grima Wormtongue, Saruman sends forth his Warg Riders to assault on the road. For here they will be weakest, and escorting women and children, making them all the more vulnerable. At the head of these Warg Riders is Sharku, a battle-scarred and devious orc who fights from atop of the back of a vicious warg. Sharku leads the Wolves of Isengard into battle from the front. His own reckless fighting style means he thrusts himself into battle without much forethought, using his sharpened riding dagger to carve through armour and flesh of those that stand before him. Within Sharku's pack are bands of Warg Riders, each fighting from the back of the wargs that they have dominated. Armed with all manner of bows, spears and other weaponry, these riders charge alongside their leader into battle. Some wargs remain riderless, either not yet tamed or too wild to be placed under the control of the orcs that would attempt to ride them. It is these creatures that Saruman unleashes upon the unsuspecting people of Rohan as they travel towards safety, and it will take every ounce of skill and as many good men as can be spared to stave off the assault of the ravenous wargs. Having scouted ahead for a means of attack, the Wolves of Isengard will strike without warning upon the travelling Rohirrim, bringing death to any that are unfortunate enough to fall in front of the warg's jaws. So, straight on with the army composition. So the heroes, you can have Sharku on a warg, and he has the option of a shield. You have an orc captain on a warg, who can take an orc bow or a shield, and an orc shaman on a warg. The warriors are a warg rider, who can take a banner, an orc bow, shield or throwing spears, and wild wargs. So not an extensive list. Predominantly all cavalry. Your only infantry is your wild wargs. Your heroes automatically come with mounts. So the additional rules. A Wolves of Isengard force must include Sharku. Sharku is treated as a hero of valour and is always the army leader. So you get a little bit of a boost to the numbers you want to take if you're maxing out warbands. And obviously Sharku has to be the leader. Friendly models gain the Isengard keyword. Additionally, Orc Shamans in the Wolves of Isengard force change their Fury Mordor Orc magic power to Fury Isengard Orc. This is really useful for trying to pass courage tests. If you want to channel it, which I'm not sure you want to do, you've got that option there of trying to save wounds. You could save wounds on the warg whilst they're still mounted together, but when it won't affect the wild wargs as such, which would happen for dismounting, I believe. So special rules. Leader of the pack. Sharku is in full command of the Wolves of Isengard and leads from the front, thrusting himself into the fight. Sharku may declare heroic combat each turn without expending might. That's pretty good. He's only fight 4, he doesn't have strike, but if you can find fight 3 troops, like the Rohirrim, you could quite easily carve through between 2 to 4 a turn. Ambush. Sharku's Warg Riders are experts in ambushing their foes. In scenarios that use Maelstrom of Battle special rule, a Wolves of Isengard force may choose to automatically win or lose priority on the first turn. However, if both forces have special rules that allow them to do this, roll for priority as normal. As far as I'm aware, this is the only force that does. Additionally, models from this force may charge in the same turn in which they enter the board, even if they may not normally be allowed to do so. Should a model entering the board in this manner fail a courage test to charge a terror-causing enemy, the model may still move onto the board as normal but may not charge anything that turn. This is a massive deviation from the normal Maelstrom rules and reinforcement rules, is the fact that you can charge. This is amazing. So you could quite easily, if the dice rolls go your way, gang up on a single warband, and if they're separated from your opponent's force, if you choose to go second, if you choose to go first, you could move off to claim objectives in heirlooms, for example. They're probably the ones, I think, in hold ground you'd want to come on second, in heirlooms you'd want to come on first, and in command the battlefield, I think it's your decision. Probably looking at your opponent's army, I'd probably go second and try and gang up on one part. And the third special rule for the Legion is Scouts. Sharku will often send a small numbers of riders in front of the pack in order to scout ahead to engage the foe quickly. At the start of the game, after both sides have deployed but before the first priority has been rolled, select up to D6 friendly warrior models in your force. The selected models may immediately make a move as if it were in the move phase, and then a shoot as if it was the shoot phase, if able. During this additional move, the selected models may not move within 1 inch of an enemy model, and therefore may not charge. In scenarios where you roll for additional models to arrive, such as those that use reinforcements or maelstrom special rule, the D6 selected models may roll to enter the board before the first turn of the game, re-rolling any results that would cause them not to enter the board until they come onto. Treat each model as an individual warband. This is amazing. So, like I said, for your heirlooms, these guys could come on first, and you could figure out where the prize was. Perhaps, as long as they're within 10 inches of the board edge. And because you've got wild wargs, they can actually look to pick up objects, etc., before the game even starts, especially in heirlooms. For objective games, this is incredible. It means you can get, well, you're nearly twice the movement of infantry straight across the board already towards where you need to go. It's just, so by the end of turn 1 you could be nearly halfway across the board, because you've got your first movement, your scout's movement, and then you've got your first turn movement. Having to shoot means you could take a hero off his horse or whatever beforehand. You don't necessarily have to move, so you could just choose 5 D6 models with bows and try and shoot your opponent's horses out before the game even starts. It's a really, really good little rule. And it doesn't seem overpowered, but is actually, you could get to where you want to very, very quickly. So, designer's notes. This legendary legion represents the Warg Riders of Isengard under the command of Saruman that are sent to hunt the Rohirrim as they attempt to reach the refuge of Helm's Deep. This force must be led by Sharku, the orc in charge of the Warg Riders. Though not normally considered as a leader, Sharku does increase his heroic tier to Hero of Valor, and can declare a heroic combat for free each turn. These benefits really make Sharku a much better leader than he would in a standard Isengard force. The key feature of this legendary legion is its ability to ambush and outmaneuver its foe. As every model is mounted, the force will already have the speed advantage over all infantry-based armies, but the scout special rule allows for a small selection of models to move first in a game. This is great for moving towards objectives or entering boards in scenarios such as recon or hold ground. The ambush special rule means they can charge in the same turn they enter the board, which can be used to devastating effect. Yeah, this is a really cool force. I'm not sure how competitive it will be. I haven't seen it run. I've heard of it being run at like 200 points and it being really good. But I'd like to see what people think of my army lists at obviously the 3 levels that we normally go through. So, after all of that, we'll come back in with the heroic tier, the hierarchy of heroes. Sorry. So, the hierarchy of heroes. This is going to be really, really short. There are 3 heroes you can choose from, two non-unique heroes. So as Sharky was always going to be your army leader, he will be the first one. So this is for 450, 600 and 750 points. It's all the same. So I've put Sharky as the top one. Then you've got your Orc Shaman on his Warg, and then you've got an Orc Captain. After that, I've chosen on my army list to include Orc Captains. You could possibly include another Shaman. I don't think it's necessarily worth it. In a competitive... no, I don't think it's worth it. You want those extra might points for marches, and I don't think you'll need that many Furies or Transfixes, and it's not a very good Transfix anyway. So yeah, so that's the simple hierarchy of heroes. You have Sharku, Orc Shaman, and then Orc Captain, and then Orc Captain, Orc Captain, Orc Captain, Orc Captain, until forever. I think once you get to 3 captains, you'd probably put another Shaman in. But apart from that, I think you're going to stick with those. So next we'll come back in with the army lists. So, coming back with the army lists, we'll go through our standard 450, 600 and 750 points. These are all very interesting. I have chosen to not max warbands in any of them. It kind of get you behind my thinking a little bit. So, 450 points. You have Sharku with a Warg and always give him a shield. That takes him up to defense 6 if I'm correct, and yeah, much needed on your leader. Now you've got 2 Warg Riders with shield, 2 Warg Riders with shield and throwing spear, 1 Warg Rider with an Orc bow, 1 Warg Rider with a banner and a shield and a wild Warg. Warband 2 is an Orc Captain with a Warg and a shield. Then you've got 2 Warg Riders with shields, 2 Warg Riders with shields and throwing spears, 1 Warg Rider with an Orc bow, 1 wild Warg, and then you got 1 Orc Shaman with a Warg, 1 Warg Rider with an Orc bow, 3 Warg Riders with a shield and throwing spear, 1 Warg Rider with a banner and a shield, and 1 wild Warg. So that's 22 models, and 19 are cavalry because you've got your 3 wild Wargs in there. You've got your 3 10-inch moving infantry for objectives and scouting, so they can pick up prizes. You've got 2 banners. I think this is crucial because A, your troops are pretty cheap, and B, you're all cavalry, so you want those rerolls as much as you can across your whole force. You've got 3 bows and 7 throwing spears. You've got 6 might, 2 heroic marches, a shaman on a warg for fury, transfix, and the larger base gives a greater effect, especially on your fury. And it's a very, very fast moving force. For 450 points, 22 models is really is good, and the fact it's all cavalry is amazing. You'll be on par with a lot of forces at 450 points models wise. Trying to get them all into effect will be very different because of the large bases, and especially if you're playing a full infantry army. You want to kind of hit in waves and don't try and pile in everyone at once. Try and hit a certain flank and then go again and go again. Yeah, I think it's a pretty cool force. So we'll move on to 600 points. You've got Sharku with a Warg and a shield, 2 Warg Riders with shield, 3 Warg Riders with shield and throwing spear, 1 Warg Rider with a banner, shield, throwing spear, and 1 wild Warg. You've got an Orc Captain with a Warg and a shield, 2 Warg Riders with shields, 4 Warg Riders with shields and throwing spears, and 1 wild Warg. Then I've got an Orc Captain on Warg with an Orc bow, 5 Warg Riders with Orc bows, and 2 wild Wargs. Then I've got an Orc Shaman with a Warg, 3 Warg Riders with shields, 2 Warg Riders with shields and throwing spears, and 1 Warg Rider with a banner, shield, throwing spear. So again, this is 31 models at 600 points, which is amazing. 27 cavalry. You've got your 4 wild wargs as infantry for objectives and scouting again. You've got your 2 banners. One thing I didn't mention in the 450 point is I put them with my leader, important, and the shaman, because I think he'll be the one that needs to get out of trouble the most, or people will gun for. I've got 6 bows, 1 being on a hero, 11 extra throwing spears, which I think is great for this force. For like mounts and stuff, it would be great if you could, like enemy cavalry, if you could take out the mount and the throwing spear on the way in. I've got 8 might, 3 heroic marches in your list, which is crazy. A shaman on warg, again with your fury and transfix, and the base size gives a greater effect. And again, it's all 10-inch movement, all all 10-inch movement. If you march, your whole force is going to be moving 15 inches in a turn, which is insane. I just remembered something and I can't remember off the top of my head. So again, for 600 points, if you look at my other lists, you'd be outnumbering the Rise of Theoden nearly 2 to 1, and you're an all cavalry force as well. Again, they've got 5 heroes, but that's by the by. You have most other forces are going to be, personally, I look between 32 and 38 models at 600 points as a standard army, but it's each down to your own personal preference. So move on to 750 points. So you have Shaku, Warg, Shield, as always. 2 Warg Riders with shields, 3 Warg Riders with shields and throwing spears, 1 Warg Rider with a banner, shield, throwing spear, and 1 Wild Warg. You have Warband 2 is an Orc Captain with a Warg and shield, 2 Warg Riders with shields, 4 Warg Riders with shield and throwing spear, 1 Wild Warg. Warband 3, exactly the same, Orc Captain, Warg Shield, 2 Warg Riders with shields, 4 Warg Riders with shields, throwing spears, and 1 Wild Warg. Warband 4 is your ranged warband, it's your Orc Captain with your Warg and Orc Bow, 6 Warg Riders with Orc Bows, and 2 Wild Wargs. Then Warband 5 is an Orc Shaman with a Warg, 3 Warg Riders with shields, 2 Warg Riders with shields and throwing spears, and 1 Warg Rider with a banner, shield and throwing spear. That's a lot of words. So this has 40 models. It has 35 cavalry, 5 wild wargs for objectives and scouting, which on your d6 is, you could choose all of them, or if you need to do other things you could choose some warg riders. You've got 2 banners in there still, contemplated 3, and you'd only drop down to 38 models. I think 2's still enough, because you're not going to be hitting as a whole line at once. You've got 7 bows, again 1 being on a hero. You know you have 15 throwing spears, which they're hitting on 5s, but you've got that many, you're going to do something. You've got 10 might, which is pretty good. You've got 4 heroic marches, a shaman on your warg for fury and transfix, and your larger base, and your larger base for the wider fury effect. And again, it's a completely fast-moving force. I like the look of these forces. I've got some Warg Riders. I don't think I've got anywhere near enough to do the 750 points. I think I've got enough to do 450, I think. I'm not entirely sure. But again, it's a really cool list. I love the theme of it. The ambushing rules are exactly what they should be. I can't think of anything better they could have done with this. The thing the list lacks is a heroic strike, which is a pain. So how you deal with the big heroes is, I think you just whittle them down with as many wargs as you possibly could. You've got the added bonus that if an orc dies, the warg could stick around. He doesn't necessarily have the fury effect, but having those extra models sticking around can be a real pain. For heroic combats, for example, a hero goes, "Oh, I'll kill the orc," but the warg stays, and then he doesn't kill the warg. That heroic combat's failed. You could really pull some fancy tricks with this, and tag team a warrior against Shaku and 2 or 3 Warg Riders, and then free heroic combat and move on. I think it's really cool. I know some people were interested to see how I would write these lists. I would still go for quite a lot of models and not very many heroes. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, that's what playtesting's for. I couldn't tell you. But if you've liked these videos and you've had experience, please let me know in the comments below. I've been having really good feedback from these videos, so I'm going to keep doing them until they're all done. So yeah, if you've liked this video, please comment, like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.